So I love Sephora. I love shopping online. I love shopping in stores, especially because I don't have one near me. The closest one is like an hour away. So whenever I get the chance to stop in a Sephora store, I love just checking out the products in person. But there are certain products that I will not buy at Sephora. I feel like the drugstore does certain categories just as great, if not better, than high-end brands. So I wanted to share those with you guys in today's video. So I filmed a video like this a few years ago, and it's interesting to see which products and categories have remained the same, which ones have changed, but I feel like my list is almost twice as long these days, and I think it's because the drugstore and affordable brands have just stepped it up, and they continue to step it up every single year. So more and more, they just do a really good job, and I feel like I don't need to go high-end with these categories. Of course, there are exceptions to everything, and there are certain things that I love to try just out of curiosity, but for the most part, these are products I prefer to buy at the drugstore. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know, what are some products that you typically tend to prefer to buy from the drugstore or from affordable brands? The first product I refuse to buy at Sephora would be a beauty sponge. I have tried the beauty blender in the past and I actually really enjoyed it. For a while I was using that and repurchasing it over and over, but it's been years since I've purchased it because the drugstore brands do sponges really well these days. My favorite is the e.l.f. Total Face Sponge. I also love the Real Technique sponge, and honestly I feel like it's just kind of easy to find good sponge options from all different brands these days. $20 for a sponge is so much, especially because it is something that you have to replace fairly regularly. So I feel like I was repurchasing the beauty blender multiple times a year, and now I actually prefer the e.l.f. sponge or the Real Technique sponge anyway, and it's a lot less expensive. Plus, you can typically find e.l.f. and Real Techniques on sale, so I'll usually grab like 2 of the sponges if they're having a sale at Ulta or they're discounted, just so I can have one on hand for when I do want to replace it. So that is definitely something I prefer to buy from drugstore brands. But what do you guys think? Do you still use the beauty blender? Obviously, the beauty blender has a big fan base, but I know there are some other high-end brands that sell beauty sponges. I've just really not had a big interest in trying them because I feel like there are so many good affordable options. The next category for me would be lip liners. I've tried some different high-end lip liner formulas and I can't deny that they're good, but the drugstore brands have really stepped it up in this category and there are so many good affordable lip liners these days. I love the ColourPop Lippie pencils. Those are my absolute favorites, but I also love LA Girl, Essence does a great job, e.l.f., Flower Beauty, NYX has amazing options, and the majority of them are under $10. So I feel like it's kind of hard to justify like a $20, $25 lip liner when there are so many great options. And again, under $10, even under $5. The thing about lip liner is I like to have different options. I want to have cool toned nudes, warm toned nudes, berries, reds, pinks. And if I'm spending $20, $25 on one lip liner, that's going to add up really quickly. And honestly, like I said, I truly feel like the drugstore brands do lip liner formulas so well. Maybe I'll film a video on all of my favorite affordable lip liner formulas, but I really refuse to buy a high-end lip liner these days. The only brand that's really tempted me would be Charlotte Tilbury because I do have 2 of her lip cheat pencils and I think they look really, really pretty. They work well, but again, there are just too many affordable options that I can't justify spending the money on a high-end lip liner these days. The next thing that I will not buy at Sephora would be clear lip glosses or clear lip balms, clear lip treatments. I will say there are formulas that I like, but I just can't justify it when I can get a good clear lip gloss from the drugstore. And I wish this would apply to all lip glosses across the board, but it doesn't really make sense because in my mind, I'll buy a sheer lip gloss with a hint of color at Sephora, but not clear. There's just something about a clear lip gloss where I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth. And again, I have like a $3 option in my collection that I really love. I will say the drugstore does lip gloss really, really well these days, and I feel like I'm kind of split down the middle. Like there are so many drugstore formulas I love, but also a lot of high-end formulas that I love too. What do I love from the drugstore? The NYX This Is Milky glosses are amazing, especially the newer ones. They're a little extra glossy. They have a little more pigment than the original ones. I also love the new LA Girl Lumilicious lip glosses. Those are super pretty. e.l.f. does a great job. But there are still high-end lip glosses that I enjoy, but not clear. I cannot justify spending the money on a clear gloss when I know that I have really affordable ones in my collection. Another category that I think the drugstore does so well would be false lashes. I actually used to spend kind of a lot of money on false lashes. There was a time period like probably like back in 2016, 2017, when I was wearing false lashes every single day. And I do still like false lashes on occasion, but I'll usually go for like Ardell or Kiss or a brand at the drugstore. The Ardell Demi Wispies are my favorite. I think they're natural, but they're still really pretty. And there are lashes on Sephora's website for like $30 plus. And I will say, typically the lashes at Sephora or from high-end retailers last longer. The band is a little bit thicker. The actual lash holds up better as you're removing it and reapplying it. And sometimes that's a little more difficult with the really, thin, light lashes from the drugstore. So sometimes you do get what you pay for, but you can reuse drugstore lashes, especially if you're careful with them. There are some lashes on Sephora's website that are like $10, $12, which I might go for if it's a brand I really loved or like a style I felt like I really wanted for a special occasion. But typically I'm good just buying like a 5-pack at Ulta of the Ardell Demi Wispies, and I feel like those do a great job. And they're just a lot more comfortable. While the high-end lashes typically hold up better, I feel like usually they're a little bit heavier, the band's a little bit thicker, and the drugstore lashes are so lightweight, it feels like you can't feel them. That's just been my experience lately. But I'm sure it varies. I saw that Samantha Ravindell's brand came out with lashes, and those look really pretty. They don't look like they're super heavy or uncomfortable, and they're a little more expensive, but you do get 2 pairs. I think they were $30. So 2 pairs for $30 is definitely a better price point than some that I've seen at Sephora. Okay, what's next on my list? Makeup brushes. I feel like this is a controversial one because some people really love luxury and high-end makeup brushes, and some people love really affordable brushes. Again, makeup brushes from the drugstore have come such a long way. I actually prefer a lot of my affordable brushes to more expensive brushes I have in my collection. There is one line that I love. It Cosmetics makes such good brushes. Actually, I have one right here. This one is the Heavenly Luxe Complexion Perfection No. 7 brush. This one is like a foundation and concealer brush. This really is one of the best brushes I've tried. But typically, I'm such a drugstore brush fan. I think I have a couple of videos on my channel sharing all of my favorite affordable brushes, but I love e.l.f. I also love Profusion, and BH Cosmetics makes a ton of great ones. I also really like the Ulta Beauty in-house brand. ColourPop makes great options, and honestly, you don't have to spend a ton of money to get really great brushes. I know there are probably some amazing brushes at Sephora, but I feel like I'd rather spend my money on makeup at Sephora rather than brushes, since I know I do have a lot of great brushes and tools that are affordable. But I feel like opinions could be split on that one. I remember mentioning it in a video. I don't know if it was the other video that I filmed like this, but a lot of people said they actually prefer high-end brushes because they feel like it's an investment on something that's going to last for a really long time. And in their experience, they had tried affordable or, drugstore brushes that hadn't lasted well. So I'm curious to know what you guys think. Okay, the next thing on my list would be brow products. For a long time, there were high-end brow products that I just couldn't find a replacement for at the drugstore. The ABH Brow Wiz and the Urban Decay Brow Blade were my favorites for years and years. And every time I tried to find something at the drugstore to replace them, I honestly couldn't until I tried NYX. NYX makes the best brow products. They have an amazing brow pencil. They have really good brow gels. They also have, what am I missing? Oh, brow pens. There are so many good options from NYX, and honestly, other drugstore brands as well. I actually haven't purchased the Anastasia Brow Wiz in a really long time. I do still repurchase the Brow Blade from Urban Decay because that is just one of my favorite products. I like that it's dual-ended, so when we travel, it's nice to have it. I also feel like the color is a good shade match for me, but I could be without it if I had to. That's like the one exception to the rule for me. Other than that, there are so many good drugstore brow products these days, and it's amazing because you don't have to spend high-end prices for good brow products. But I do feel like there are really good brow products at Sephora too. I'm just glad that these days I don't feel the need to, only stick with my high-end brow products. The next thing for me would be candles. There are a lot of really expensive candles at Sephora. I mean, let me go on Sephora's website because I feel like maybe there are some that aren't too ridiculously priced. That's kind of the case with all categories, especially these days. I feel like there are some brands at Sephora that are a little bit more affordable than we used to see. So, I say like products I'll never buy. There are always exceptions to the rule. I mean, here's a candle for $12. It's probably a mini candle, but there are also candles for like $78. You guys, I had no idea that there was like this entire luxury candle market out there. I guess I kind of get it because when I fall in love with a candle scent, like I fall in love with it, and that's the only candle that I ever want to burn, and it makes such a difference. And I feel like a candle is It's like an experience. Oh my gosh, this candle is $180. How big is this? Oh, 43 ounces. That's a massive candle. I mean, this water bottle is 40 ounces. So I feel like a 43-ounce candle is really big, but $180? I just feel like there are so many things to spend $180 on. And I don't know. I think it's because with a candle, like you're just actively burning through it. And I mean, I guess that's the whole point. But for me, I don't know. There are just so many good affordable candles out there that I can't justify spending that much money on a candle. Maybe one of the more affordable options, but again, like this candle is $65, and a lot of the perfume brands make candles. I'd rather just buy the perfume and wear the scent rather than burning it in a candle. So candles, definitely a category that I just won't buy at Sephora. The last category would be nail polish. I went through a big nail polish phase when I first started my YouTube channel. I used to film like nail polish haul videos. I used to film, I think it was like nails of the month, where I would film my nails like every single time I changed them throughout the month. And it's just funny to think back on those days because I loved it so much. My sisters and I actually started a nail polish company, which was so much fun. But anyway, even back then when I loved nail polish so much and I had like walls of nail polish, which was so crazy to think about, I refused to buy nail polish from Sephora and spend like $18, $20 on a nail polish because there are so many good formulas, so many beautiful colors at the drugstore. I remember I got one luxury nail polish and I honestly can't even remember the brand, or maybe I got a few. I remember Deborah Lippin was really big back then and the color was gorgeous, but I just really didn't notice a big difference between that formula and formulas that I would get at the drugstore. So I still feel that way in 2022. I don't wear nail polish as much. If I'm getting like a pedicure or painting my nails at home, I'll do that, but I'm a big press-on nail fan. I think they're just so beautiful. They're longer lasting. You can switch up the design and the color a little bit easier. So I don't do nail polish too much these days, but if I do, I usually just stick with the drugstore brand. That's pretty much everything I wanted to share with you guys in today's video. If it's a category I didn't mention, it's because I typically will shop that category at Sephora. Pretty much most makeup, most skincare products. I'm not opposed to trying other hair products, but there are just very specific categories where I prefer to shop at the drugstore. So let me know in the comment section below if there are any categories like that for you guys. I would love to know, and I'll see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye.